Hey there guys, and welcome back to another Civ study for Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. Today we're looking at the Inca, more specifically, the native allies they get, and how powerful an asset they are to the Inca civilization. With just 3 cards modified into your deck, you can get a whole new level of insane with the Inca. Let's go ahead and see what cards these are. Now, I'm going to point out that I'm assuming that you already have Sapa Inca and Son of Inti in your deck. I'm assuming you already have the Team Inca bridges and the road building in your map. These are basically essential cards for any Inca build, so I don't really include them into this whole thing, which is why I say 3 cards will do this. You have American allies. This is going to give you a 3rd native embassy, give you the embassies right off the bat in the first age, and give you access to 3 warriors: the Bolus warrior, the Bolus rider, blowgunner, and lightning warrior. So right off the bat, you already got guys if you want to do early aggression. If that's your first card that comes out, you get the things down, you start pumping out the warriors before your enemy can even age up. That's I cannot state how effective of a rush technique that is. Alright, moving on. We have Native Alliance. This is going to reduce by 10% all of the costs of your native warriors. Top of that is pushing their build limits up by 20%. If they had 10, they get 12. If they had 15, they get 13. If they had 20, they get 24. So that 20% increase it seems small, going to like just 3 extra warriors here, 2 there, whatever. But it does add up to give you a much larger army in the end. The final one that you need to include is going to be Native Warrior Combat. That's a straight 20/20 buff to your troops, all native troops. Now this is significant because this is unlike the ranged combat, cavalry combat, or melee combat cards in that it affects all native troops. All ranged, melee, and cavalry cards troops are going to be getting affected by this. So this is a really potent card. Now, here's a secondary card I would talk about, is the Blood Brothers. This is one of those skip cards where you're able to get rid of all of the upgrades up to champion. You still need to buy the legendary in the 5th age, but it does if you're trying to do a fast fortress or a fast 4th age, which is, what is the 4th age? Industrial age. So the industrial age, if you're there and you haven't upgraded your guys yet, this is a very powerful card for that. Now, going on to the allies, the 6 Ironwood Clubmen, the Blackwood Archers, the Bolus Riders, and the Holkin Spearmen are all affected by this as well. They're considered native units. They come out, they do not affect... Now this is something to keep in mind as well. Native units do not take up any population. They have population caps of their own. These 3 are going to hit their population caps right off the bat. These 17, 10, and 15, you cannot put these cards back out again until you have room to put these cards out. The Ironwood Clubman is different. You'll need to spend this card 6 times before you even hit their limit of 36. So keep that in mind as well. Now, if you're going to be using those cards, Imperial Unity is a very powerful card, going to let them drop faster and cost 25% less. So what does this all look like in actual practice? Well, I brought some guys over onto here to show off. Let's put them back here so we're not tainting what we're looking at. Go ahead and move Huayna Capac. I like it when it gives me Tupac. We're going to be moving our War Chief away just to kind of look and see what we got. So these are our 6 basic units. We know we're pretty familiar with their stats at this point. If you're using the Inca, you'll be using these guys almost exclusively. Now we can see here we got the Flaminca versus the Spearman. So it's already a more powerful unit. These are the 2 guys that we're getting from the Incas that are already on the map. Speaking of which, right here. This card specifically, I'm not sure about these 2, but this one does not work for the Inca if you've already got the speed buffs down. You're getting a 15% buff from your speed cards. That's a 20% buff, but you don't get that extra 5%. Or they're lying about one of the speed buffs you get as the Inca already, and you're already getting a base 20. They do not... come on, alright. They do not stack. Unfortunate, I know, but that's just the way it is. Alright, so looking at our stats of our guys, we already see that their health is just substantially higher, except for maybe the legendary macemen here, we can see that the health of all of our guys is significantly higher than what our base units are. And we can see that the attack of all of them can get raised even higher. So with this included, their attack starts becoming something truly stupid. And we're getting a 35 here. So that's, you know, comparable to the regular spearmen. 43 here. 55 range damage versus 38. Everything about them is just better. Okay, you guys can run away now. Now, with Sapa Inca, the combat buff only affects native troops. It will not affect your regular troops. Now, what's more is if we look here, this says improves the speed and hit points of your war chief. His leadership aura now also slightly improves native warrior attack. This is a lie. It is a somewhat significant improvement, about 15% damage buff. Or I'm sorry, 10% damage buff. But that's, of course, remember those buffs are all based off of base values. This is doing a lot more than it's saying. And to show you what I'm talking about, I've left this Bolus Warrior away from this Bolus Warrior. With the buff, the health is also getting almost a 50% buff. That's huge. The card lies to you. Your guys become meat tanks on the field. So keep that in mind. Your war chief just absolutely buffs these guys to insane degrees. So you can see that our native warriors just get absolutely silly. Now, this seems already quite intense, and this is using our allies cards, but if we use our limits, you can see that even with just the two guys over here, we actually have about 95 units from just the embassies, and that's not even including these guys. Now, keep in mind that the legendary Bolus warriors you get from the card are going to be slightly weaker than the ones that you make out of your embassy, which is why they don't work on the same population limit. They're actually two different units that share the same everything. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that look at how the native warriors work within the Inca civilization. They become absolute monsters on the field. And this is with just 3 cards that if you can work into your regular deck. Now, I say that because Sapa Inca and Son of Inti should be in your regular deck. Your speed buffs should be in your regular deck. Period. But with just 3 cards, Native American Allies, Native Alliance, and Native Warrior Combat, you're going to be bringing forward a set of troops that don't affect your population limit, are insanely powerful, can be used for specific tasks outside of what the regular army or military is used for the Inca. They just complement really well all over the place. So, you know, run Chimu wherever, run your Bowman, whichever troop you buff, these 3 cards will ultimately modify your military to such a degree that your numbers will completely overwhelm your opponent every time. So, 3 cards, super important cards, stuff you should be incorporating from the get-go. So, please take all of this information to heart. Work with this information in your decks in the future. I look forward to seeing what sort of meta this produces, but beyond that, I hope you guys really enjoyed this Civ study of the Native Warriors for the Inca civilization. I'll see you guys next time.